is a pleasure to have you back on the Unveiling Igbo podcast. I'm your host, Ada Igwe Umuri, throughout this captivating episode. Today, we are heading to the Igbo land of Nigeria, where we'll discover some intriguing aspects of our history that may make your jaw drop. Yes, that's correct. We are diving deep into the 10 barbaric cultural practices of the Igbo people. Are you ready? Well then, let's get started. Our first stop leads us straight into a practice called Ibanko, which involves arranged marriages within Igbo communities. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Arranged marriages aren't considered barbaric everywhere. However, in this case, it's not just about families setting up introductions for their children. It goes deeper than that. Historically speaking, young girls were often married off at very tender ages without their consent or choice in the matter. In modern times, though, these practices are diminishing as education and awareness grow. So yes, come back is not what you were thinking. Moving on to our second point. A tradition known as Osu caste system, utilized by the Igbo community. This particular practice is quite brutal and has caused much suffering throughout history. The Osu caste system categorizes certain individuals as outcasts solely based on factors such as ancestry or association with deities in indigenous religious practices. As a result of being labeled Osu, which is outcast, these people faced severe discrimination and were excluded from many social activities within the community. Unfortunately, there are some places in Igbo land which this thing still exists, and people can't get married because they are classified as an Osu. Point number 3, Ikenga sacrifice. Brace up yourselves because this one might come as a shock. In ancient times, it was believed that offering human sacrifices could ensure success and prosperity in various aspects of life. Human beings would be sacrificed to appease the gods and seek their favor. Luckily, this heinous practice has been eradicated for quite some time now, with society realizing the value of every human life. Our fourth barbaric practice focuses on something called Osumau, or sacred masquerades. While these masquerades play an important role in Igbo culture, it's worth mentioning that they were sometimes used as a tool for intimidation and control over weaker members of society. The men who portrayed this Mao masquerade held great power due to their strict secrecy, often using fear tactics to maintain dominance within the community. Number 5 takes us into a rather fascinating aspect, Ude Agali, which refers to widowhood rituals in Igbo land. Traditionally, when a woman loses her husband, she would undergo various customs that sometimes bordered on being brutal and oppressive. Widows were expected to shave their heads as a sign of mourning and wear specific attires throughout the specified period. Thankfully, with modern attitudes shifting towards equality, many of these practices have become far less common. Point number 6 leads us into the world of Ikoro, an ancient communication instrument made from wood or animal horns. While this may not sound terrifying at first glance, it's how these instruments were used that makes them qualify as barbaric in some ways. Ikoro was frequently employed during periods of war or conflict, where its loud sound functioned as an alarm signaling danger. The psychological impact and potential harm inflicted upon enemies through tactical warfare remains ethically questionable. Get ready for point number 7. Primitive judicial practices known as Nkubwa. In ancestral times, legal disputes within Igbo communities were settled through physical battles between representatives chosen by each side involved. These representatives would fight until a victor emerged, and the verdict will be determined based on combat performance. Plunging into fights to establish justice may seem unthinkable today, but it was their way of resolving conflicts. And now, on to point number 8, Ubandinso, or the killing of sacred animals. In ancient Igbo society, certain animals were considered sacred and believed to harbor spiritual powers. However, these practices sometimes involve the killing of innocent animals as part of religious rituals without proper regard for conservation of species or animal rights. Today, efforts are being made to protect endangered animal populations and promote more humane practices. Alright then, we are nearing the end with point number 9, Amadioha, the god of thunder's wrath. Amadioha holds great significance in Igbo mythology as a deity associated with lightning and thunderstorms. According to legends, those accused of crimes against society or morality would face severe punishments believed to be wrought by Amadioha's divine wrath. These retributions range from death by thunderbolts to other mysterious occurrences that struck fear into hearts. Finally, we've arrived at our last stop on this journey through barbaric Igbo practices, the controversial tradition known as Ibu Ala, which refers to a cultural practice involving oaths sworn on ancestral lands. While swearing an oath might seem reasonable in some circumstances, the severity comes into play when breaking such an oath results in incredibly harsh consequences or causes that could extend not only to individuals but even generations to come. And that's it, the 10 barbaric cultural practices found within Igbo land. It's essential to understand that while these traditions played significant roles at various points in history, many have been abandoned or heavily modified due to societal progress and evolving viewpoints. Thanks for joining me on this thought-provoking exploration. And remember, it's through understanding our past that we can build a better future for all. That wraps up this episode of Nwafọ Igbo. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep embracing diversity in all its forms. Stay tuned for more thrilling adventures into this fascinating world of Igbo culture. Thank you.